show. And thanks for popping by Meaningfueled, where we take your problems of practice, your POPs, and have a meaningful discussion about where they come from and where to go from there.
We are 4 longtime educators bringing our diverse experiences to the table.
We're harnessing all the energy of popping into your teacher bestie's classroom and bringing it straight to your ears.
Let's get poppin' with today's problem of practice.
All right, you've had the autonomy for years to create your own schedule. You love having math in the morning.
I do.
It's perfect. You teach reading after lunch. It's perfect. Now the administration in your district has taken over making the schedule and you've lost all control.
Boo.
The teachers in your building are up in arms about which grade gets what and where subjects are placed in the day. Everyone thinks they can do it better.
Because they can.
It ultimately comes down to a debate of who should get to decide the school schedule and what are the challenges of building the ideal schedule. So this is my exact reality at the end of my last school year, that the administration took over the schedule and everyone panicked. Panic, right? Everyone, I overheard many conversations, everyone thinking, why didn't they ask me? But it has a lot of strong opinions. Everybody has a different understanding of what schedule works best for them, for the kids, for whatever role you have in the building. I've been on many scheduling committees and a few overhauls in a few different districts. And I can say it can go to an even more extreme than just the administration deciding your schedule.
You've got to be joking.
My last district outsourced to a company. Actually, my friend's husband happened to work for that company and was like, your name came up at my work. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, I think we're making your schedule. Sorry, come again? You're deciding? I was like, do you guys do education? He's like, not really, but we are.
So this is a company that like takes schedules from like
for
there's
different
a doctor's
corporations.
office,
Yes,
like
yes. So they do medical.
Oh, God.
This is like one of the first educational ones they had done.
The first?
They've done different ones. So it's not like this isn't what the company does. So they look at all the different things and they compile a huge schedule. So actually they surveyed staff about what they wanted, what their non-negotiables were. And from there, the company analyzes
everything.
it. Yeah, the company analyzes it based on all their metrics and based on what things the superintendent said or someone else said, and they put all of that into this big thing, and then they pop out schedules for each individual grade teacher, for the specialists, for the principal, for the blah blah, like you name it, they do it. So
it sounds
actually,
great in theory.
It sounds great in theory,
right?
So
I could see how someone falls for this,
until you
hook,
hear
line,
that
and
they
sinker.
haven't done a lot in the educational space because
Right.
it's
And
a unique
until
space.
You get a sneak peek from your friend's husband because hey, connections, and then you look at it and you're like, wait a minute, what? Like nothing matches what anyone thought it would. So there are no transition times. There's a random thing called boost block that no one has given you any direction. Turns out no one will ever give you direction about what to do during boost block.
Boost them.
Boost
There
them on
are
up.
blocked academics that don't really match the minutes of your curriculum.
Cool.
So your curriculum says, hey, you're supposed to have 90 minutes for math and here's 65. Go.
Awesome.
And also shifted academic blocks based on shared staff. So ultimately it came down to this huge butterfly effect. So everyone was angry and honestly everyone was told you're not allowed to shift at all. You shift by 5 minutes, all of a sudden miraculously 8th grade can't eat lunch. And now those kids will go starving all because you shifted something by 5 minutes. And everybody just has to live in this schedule. And it was like long gone are the days of like, hey, we're doing a science experiment today and I need a double block to do science because the kids have to pour water 18 times and I have to go to the freezer and back. And long gone are the ones of like, hey, we can have math in the morning. It was like, nope, your math is in the afternoon now. Absolutely can't switch it. So let me tell you, companies don't do the best, this company in particular, of the first time doing it, doesn't really understand all the ins and outs of all those school operations and the fact that kids are magically supposed to teleport to their next location without having to walk at all.
So we can conclude 100% that outside companies should not be making or driving the schedule
ever.
ever.
So fair.
So who should?
That is
Get
the
to decide.
question. So how does it work at everyone's building?
Well, when I was a classroom teacher, I was able to make my own schedule. I was given my lunchtime, I was given my special time, my prep time of the day, and other than that, away I went. And I loved my schedule. Like, I always made it work. I loved having, as you could have told by my introductions, I loved having math in the morning. It was like my first hard academic of the day after morning meeting. Then I had writing after that, I think, or we had snack recess and then writing because it gives them a little brain break. Then we had our special, then we had lunch, then we had reading after lunch to like settle in. It was ideal. I had my ideal schedule. I will call it my ideal schedule because I know people will have different feels about different subjects being where, but and it was amazing and perfect. And
so you're of the opinion teachers get to make their own schedule.
What's challenging about being the teacher making the schedule is that you have to keep a lot in mind, and like I had to give up some of my idealisms when I had a class that was supported with a special education teacher who was not just my special education teacher. She was servicing 2 other classrooms in my grade and 2 other grades other than mine. So I had to make some concessions there, or I had some multilingual learners in my class and the MLL staff needed different blocks of time at different times of day.
And sometimes those kids cross over.
And
they
sometimes
go
those are
into
the
both.
same. Yeah, sometimes you got those dually identified kids, and we need to make sure they're getting their correct services. So like, the tweaks happened here or there, but I loved having that autonomy as a classroom teacher because I did feel like I was being professionally respected in order to make decisions that were the best for my kids.
And I'm going to come now as the math specialist, because that was my last role. And, you know, my first year, teachers were making schedules like that. And you're then, like, trying to beg, borrow, and steal. And then we're not exactly sure, like, you know, out of the 3 third grade sections, like, who's gonna flag for support, and like, do all 3 teachers need to be on the same page? Do I only need 2 teachers on the same page? But then you feel bad because you're coming in after like they've established their ideal schedule, and you're saying like, well, I really like need you to move something or switch something, and this was a K-6 school.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to pull kids from, you know, all the grade levels, and it puts this onus on me now to like, you know, kind of like force people to make changes. Like, it was awkward, especially new in the role, and I didn't have great relationships. But even, I feel like if I did, like, it would still be really challenging to like have to like figure all that out. And a lot of time it gets wasted, to be quite honest with you, like trying to figure that out at the beginning of the year, that I actually could be servicing kids if there is better like established schedule, which like we did shift to, right? And like,
so after your first year, you actually shifted. Like,
yeah, because I was on the instructional leadership team, and I
so
think
you decided.
Well, it can't be just you, because this is, I mean, I also left the classroom and became a coach, and like that same exact experience.
Right, and to be fair, as a classroom teacher, like, I actually taught in the same district as Erin when the big bad company came in.
I snuck a peek at yours.
And yeah, like, losing that autonomy and losing it in that way
was brutal.
Traumatic.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it maybe is one of the contributing factors to why I started to look to move on with my career. And so I should say that, like, as, you know, like a former classroom teacher who wants to always keep that, like, as the front of my mind, that, like, that I did love my autonomy.
Yeah.
And also, like, now being in a role that relies on every other teacher in the building and having more job-alike and more in common with MLL teachers, SPED teachers, right? I came to see that, like, someone thinking about it from that sort of higher level really was better.
Yeah, I
and
have to agree.
it ultimately, like, flat out in our building, like, kids got better, more consistent services and support in tier 2 and 3 as a result of it, and some might even say in tier 1. Because another thing that was happening was teachers that made their own schedules, put their snack and their recess wherever they wanted, and we had a longish school day. We had, like, one day of the week was a little shorter for, like, was we had professional development weekly, and so we went until 3:20, and you know, like, kids came in the building 8:35, so it was like a longish day, and certain grade levels, which shall not be named, like, started having they would have their snack and their recess at the end of the day because they had, like, an early lunch too, kind of like Brianna,
Like me,
you mentioned,
yeah,
right?
I mentioned last episode.
So they were, like, packing up around, like, 2:15.
Oh,
Whole
so
hour.
the end, yeah.
Like-
the end of the day,
Oh,
you mean
no.
the last hour of the day.
Right. And they were like, well, the kids are tired and they're little, and you'd be like, but
And
the principal was like, literally, like, you cannot, like, lose an hour of instructional time daily, you know, even if we believe all that kids need breaks and they need recess and all those things, like, this is too far, right? And I think that's the thing, like, the teacher autonomy bit, like, can go too far.
This company, I mean, I remember distinctly one of the kindergarten teachers was livid because they put, like, the center playtime at the beginning of the day and put math at the end. So you kindergartners at 2:50 learning math. And she was like, I'm sorry, there are centers. Can we flip-flop it? No. Can't flip-flop it, right? Can't do it. So there are things to be said that it's not nothing can go in that hour, but there are certain things that might be
They
better.
definitely feel
make
better.
better sense.
Yeah.
And it could be hard because sometimes it's specials and sometimes specialists get their shared staff among buildings. And,
That's
you
my,
know, if
that's my building.
right, because as a math specialist, I know some of the math specialists in your district share buildings. Right?
Yes.
They have to rotate and go to somewhere else, and that can be another challenge.
Yeah, so my building, so Sarah and I were in the same building, so for a while we had autonomy and we were able to, I loved my schedule. I had, like,
Common theme here.
yes.
We all loved it
We
at
love
one point.
autonomy,
Yeah.
and then we're the only ones affected.
Right.
And
It's
because my lunch was, like, early, I had, like, a literacy morning and then would actually come back from lunch and have math, and it was like it
But still
worked.
early enough in the
Still
day.
early enough. Sarah's making
Making
faces.
faces.
Yeah, you gotta write a STEM coach and a
Right.
math
Yeah.
specialist.
but it works because the flexibility of having literacy, just like phonics and reading and writing, all anyway. So then budget cuts happened,
What?
Never.
In education?
and
I can't imagine.
now you've got buildings that have gone down a classroom in each grade level, which means they cannot have their own specialists. So art, PE, and music are now shared between buildings. So
How
like,
many buildings are they shared between?
they're shared between 4. There's 4 elementary schools where I work. And what happened this past year was, like, we had 3 different PE teachers coming to my school. And they were also going to, like, one other school or 2 other schools other than mine. We had 2 art teachers. So, like, if I'm on a team, I'm on a 3-person team.
I feel bad for them too. Like, it's just so hard to feel, like,
100%.
connected to, like, the
So
community
that was their whole
and
thing
whatnot.
this year.
Like, yeah,
There was one art teacher that her home base was my school. That was it.
that was it. Yeah.
And, like, she was the only specialist that would come to our staff meetings. So, like, she didn't have home base. So, like, my 2 teammates had one art teacher and I had a different one. And so their schedule had to drive our schedules because
No other way to do it.
there's no other way to do it. Like,
and they can't magically teleport like
Right.
the kids
no,
with
there's
no
driving.
transitions.
They have to drive. Now, where I work, small town, but, like, where you have to drive, it might take you 15 minutes to get across
the
town.
farthest schools are at least 15
Yes.
minutes. If you're not hitting lights and they're not digging up the road for whatever
Right.
reason
Because
today.
they always are.
Right.
And so that is driving the schedule. So then you have to look at, let's say, those 9 specialists that are now at our school, driving time, the schedules of the other elementary schools.
which are
because
not exactly the same.
They're not, because other schools may have 3 second grades and then this school has 4. It's just, it turned into, like, a tornado of a mess this year. And then, you've got me and my teammate were piloting a new curriculum, and we had to match up our math, and like it didn't work.
Right.
And that kind of leads us to like, what are the challenges in making that ideal schedule?
So many.
Ooh.
Yes. So
Loaded question.
it is a loaded question.
I could list many.
All right,
Do you want
go
to start
first.
us off?
Sure.
What's the first one you
All
want
right.
to list?
Well, like let's take the easy one first. This is the controversial one for Sarah, but it is the like, where do the academics go in the day question, and I think we all know that kids are like the best, like mid-morning, right? Is that
And research does back you up on this.
backs me up, right?
Yeah, it says placing core academics. I mean, they include reading, math, literacy,
Yep.
which is hard because I'd also argue social studies and science can be
Sure.
core academics, but
They are.
it does
they are
say
core
they are. So that says that
And they certainly are in
mid-morning,
middle school where you are.
right? And mid-morning is when kids are most attentive,
Right.
Yes.
So
and that they have less cognitive fatigue.
Right.
And their learning outcomes are better. However,
everything
everything mid-morning.
everything can't go mid-morning.
Everything.
So I will say, as someone who's been a math specialist, like it's very hard to move people off of always putting literacy in
Yes.
that block. They feel that is the most important, despite what the research might say around early math.
Math people over here.
Skills. Again, that's for another episode. But I do think, that question of fitting in the academics is important, but layered in that is that not every grade level can have something at the same time.
Right.
Because if you only have one multilingual teacher, for example,
Yep.
and she wants to go into reading time at each grade level, first grade and second grade can't have reading at the same time,
Right.
because then she can't be in reading
Right.
at the same time, right? Or
Well, and you're talking about like possibly up to like 10 teachers teaching that one subject at the same
Right.
time when you're thinking of like how many sections are there per grade level. It's crazy.
Right.
It gets crazy.
and like you're a coach, and
Yeah.
you're trying to like go in and like support different grade levels with math, and everyone taught math at the same block.
Oh,
You'd have the
Impossible.
busiest block of your day, and then what would you do the rest of the day? Like, like,
So many other
hang out in the office? No one
Right.
wants that.
like the schedule has to work so that you can support,
Right.
Right.
different grade levels at different times. So the where academics go question, I think, is the biggest thing that should be driving the schedule, but it's not easy.
No.
It's really not.
Well, and then you
And
are going to get people, oh, you have to do math at this time. And then you're like, well, no, I don't like that. And it's kind of like, too bad, so sad. Like,
Well, yeah,
and that's where the big feelings comes in of like, well, but I've never done that, or
Right.
I don't want to do that.
Well,
or,
and I thinking back to a past episode, and we talked about it with kids learning how to like be in community, and like you have to give up some things to like
Teachers
make
say no, no.
it work. Like this is something that, and again, I was one of the people who really loved having my autonomy, but like I did have to give up some stuff to make things work, and like you have to give up some stuff to
Yeah.
make things work.
Yeah.
For the greater good, as it were.
And there's some things that are beneficial to have in common. Not just academically, like sometimes it is nice to teach the same thing at the same time. Like you said, if you pilot a new curriculum and you need to be on the same page. Or one of the things that comes up a lot in scheduling is common planning time.
I was gonna say, I feel like that is the next biggest challenge is when are you giving teachers time to have common planning time? You cannot expect them to do it on their own time. And I've been in a district where they did. They expected me to do it on my own time. The specials
Before school or after school.
the specials
right?
were
lunch.
the specials were stacked. So I went to art, then the other teacher went to art, then the other teacher went to art, then the other teacher went to art, and that art
The same
teacher
grade
just
level.
had the 4 third grades right in a row. And I can see why that is so beneficial for the art teacher to like have all the materials out and what have you.
For that like third grade project
But
that they're doing.
Right. But that meant that we did not have common planning time ever
Right.
given to us.
Right.
We had to give up our lunches. We had to meet after school. And that's just, it's against our contract. One, we did it because it's best for kids. But like, how do you make common planning time work when you want a functioning team, when you want strong grade levels, you need to give them common planning time.
And it needs to be in
And where does it
contractual
go?
hours.
Right.
And it, yes.
Right.
And that comes, you know, you have to have some sort of block scheduling then,
Yeah.
typically
Right.
speaking, right? Where then, like, at this block, like, one class goes to art, one goes to library, one goes to music, so
Right.
that all the teachers are available, you know, to have.
And I'll say,
common
like,
planning.
from my position now, it's so beneficial to have a block schedule where I know on Monday at 9:30, I can go meet with all the 5th grade teachers at the same time. I can give them the same information about the upcoming science test or a new math program that we're rolling out. And I don't have to worry about, like, catching everybody up and sending different
Yeah.
messages
Which-
possibly.
Pockets, right.
Which I will say, some teachers I had staff, my direct colleagues were upset. They were upset that they didn't get planning by themselves. And then you look at the reality though, and you're like, but we're talking all the time outside of times. And this actually gives you the ability to do that. Or you know how we have to schedule that meeting with the nurse? The nurse could
Right.
come on our common planning time when we are all there.
Right.
And there is a huge benefit and equity in that. There is an
Yeah.
equity, like you said, in delivering the same information at the same time so that barring you're absent, you don't actually miss it.
Right. My building, like Sarah said, we've never had common planning time. I think we had it one year, once a week, for like an hour. Or
And
no,
did they
it wasn't
give
an
you an
hour.
expectation of when you're supposed to have it? Or they were just like,
Because
you
you're
need it,
expected
but
to
go
collaborate,
ahead.
right? That's in your
No,
evaluation,
so-
right? You
No,
know,
there was no expectation about when it
Interesting.
was supposed to be
just
held.
that it happens.
It was
Just that you collaborated.
You collaborated with your peers, with your colleagues. So, being on a team, so my team has been through it. We've had like 7 different people on the team in the past 10 years, and it's just because of leaves and medical leaves and maternity, paternity. Just we've had lots of different people on and off the team, and we went up a classroom size and down a classroom size. Trying to teach new teachers the curriculum
Yep.
on a team when you have no common planning time and you
I
have a
couldn't
new
even imagine
teacher.
that.
You have a new teacher every year for like 5 years in a row.
Right.
Like that was my reality, and we had to meet after school, meet before school. We actually asked one year because it was me and my colleague who were brand new in year 1 and year 2, and our 2 other colleagues went on leave for a paternity leave and a medical leave, and her and I were like, we need time during the day, so they actually tried to find us time where someone else would cover our room so that we could have common planning time. Ask me if that happened or if it worked. It didn't. But it doesn't allow for you to be teaching and collaborating with new staff members on
And
your
how
team.
does that work with staff, like SPED teachers, MLL teachers? Because like they're also included in part of your planning if they're servicing your
Right.
kids.
They should be.
They should
They
be.
should be.
know.
They hardly ever are.
Right.
I mean, like,
Because our common planning actually our special educator came to our common planning times
that's
because
lovely.
Well,
everybody was at
I
special.
was going to
so
say,
Right.
but that's
Right.
because you had a grade level
because we had a grade level
Special educator.
Yes.
teacher.
Ah.
And like, that is not always true.
No, they're
Because, like,
shared between grade levels,
If we-
and again, it's back to like, what do you prioritize in a schedule?
Yep.
So it's like,
And there's some non-negotiables like lunch. Kids have to eat.
Gotta
That
have
is
lunch.
that is per our other episode. That is something that has to happen. And I know that even came up. Like, there's not always equity in lunch. Like, we have 2 middle schools. One has 2 cafeterias. One has 1. So their schedules naturally look different because of the physical space that's available. Whereas with one cafeteria, you got to rotate through all the grade levels. Everybody's got to eat at 10:30, at 1 o'clock. You know, everybody's got to eat somewhere. And that's the thing that a lot of teachers don't always think about.
Right.
Or it
Like,
can even be
right,
like,
the other grade level has a 10:30
yeah,
lunch.
I mean, the other thing about lunch is like, how big's your cafeteria?
Cafeteria.
Because is one grade fitting in there? Can you
Or
fit
multiple.
into?
Right.
How long is that lunch line then? Like, it becomes
and
an
when
odd scheduling thing
I
to
was
deal
teaching
with.
at one school, the gym was shared, was the lunchroom,
Mhm.
and so then gym class couldn't be
I
held
was gonna say.
when there were lunches, and so it was
Oh.
even more of a like
That's
What do I do?
complicating factor
Yeah.
of like trying to like shove more kids into lunch so we weren't taking gym blocks out of the schedule.
But you also have to move all the tables
Oh,
out
yes.
of the
And
lunch. You have a
clean.
place to have gym.
I had gym like one year right after the last lunch block, and like the kids would be like, "I'm sticky," and they were because
Yes,
the
the
floor
Dorito.
was sticky for sure.
So I think another thing that comes up that teleporting, our schedule didn't have transition times. People just expect staff and students to make it there
You can't
in
teleport?
no time at all. And it's literally like, but it was the oddest times. It'd be like 12:08. This block ends, and the next block starts at 12:08.
Yes. Children need transition times. I mean, I don't think that's like controversial, except now having seen schedules built without them,
Right.
like
Well,
they're not teleporting.
I was gonna say
right?
this came up at my schedule creation meeting when were given the time on learning minutes for the district.
And they don't match.
If you add those up, that is the full day.
Right, no transition.
There's a second
Right.
given for transition. So like, if that's another thing is that like we have like these great documents, these great ideas for documents of like, yes, you should be spending this long on math and this long on reading and this long on science and social studies. And then those are not actually realistic documents anymore when you consider the kids have to move from the first floor in the left wing for art class and then be back up in their second floor right wing classroom within the same moment
Right.
to start
And
math on
let's
time.
be real, that's different for every grade level. A kindergartner walking from that place to
Oh,
that
yeah.
place compared to a fifth grader who may even be able to walk on their own without a teacher guiding them, that's debatable sometimes. But that's another thing, is like
Yeah.
each grade level also needs different amounts of, in an ideal world, transition time or academic time.
Well, definitely academic time. You think of like the early literacy skills that are necessary to teach in K1, 2. Do I need to give up as much time in third, fourth, fifth grade for like a structured literacy? No. Do I still need that? Yes. But like
But it looks
smaller groups
different.
of
in
kids, right.
different amounts of time need to be allocated to different things. You can't get through a fifth grade science project in 30 minutes
Right.
in the way you can
In kindergarten.
Right.
Like it's just
And
Is
even
the
for-
leaf living or non-living? it's like-
And even for specialists, like your service intervention could be 10 minutes because that's the attention span of a kindergartner compared to a 40-minute block for a sixth grader.
yeah, the different needs for different grade levels is
now I will say though
a
that,
hard challenge to contend with.
but that's what people will tell you. Well, that's what I need to make my schedule. 'Cause
Right,
I know my
'cause I
grade level
know.
best, and you're like, yes. And also, like, you could trust that there are other people in the building or representatives from your team or whatever that are part of the schedule making
Yes.
that can advocate for those grade level specific needs without needing, the full on everyone does their own thing situation.
Yeah. Well, we
And-
haven't even discussed recess and how
Right.
important recess is. Like,
Right.
there's so much research out there on how much time kids should be spending in unstructured free play. And like,
They're taking it away.
You
They
got
want to
10
take
minutes.
more away.
you got 15 minutes now. And like,
15. This company
That's
gave
not
us
okay.
11 minutes
Why
without
11?
transitions.
11?
that's not
Without
okay.
transitions.
First,
like
it was
6
it was
minutes.
snack resist.
It was
Wait a minute. With 11 minutes?
11
Oh,
minutes.
that
With
was also
11
inequity
minutes?
because you got a snack recess that I didn't have, and I was like, "Excuse me, you have a block for this that I don't
Just
have."
because, like, yeah, right, the time.
Right,
I
the
didn't
time
do
didn't
with it.
work.
How are you supposed
Crazy.
to put on snow gear?
Oh, yeah.
On and off.
Not even
With
not
an
even a
11-minute
factor.
recess. That just doesn't add up. Do you know how long it takes a second grader to put
about
snow gear
11
on?
minutes, I
Yes.
guess.
And they've analyzed, like Frontiers in Public Health have done a meta-analysis and said that 10-minute movement breaks, kinesthetic learning improves, kids' engagement improves, their memory improves, their academic performance improves, and that daily recess makes behaviors better.
Yes.
That's the
Yes.
other thing, is like you actually get
Yes.
through more content because the kids have had recess.
Right.
So while it looks like a break, it is, but it's a set break so that they don't like fall asleep during math.
Right.
and
It's a
can't
break for a
attend.
reason.
Right.
And we know all these things, and yet
Yes.
still,
Right.
I feel like there are schedules that are made without them, or there are administrators who, say to somebody, you were supposed to start math 10 minutes ago.
You have them
and,
come in and start to,
Yeah,
or be like,
type of
why are
thing.
you not doing
and so,
this?
like, while I feel like we are all advocating that at some level, like, you really do need someone to, like, look down and craft a schedule that tries to address all of these competing priorities, from common planning times to making sure it works for the shared staff,
Yep.
to making sure, academics are the best time, or uninterrupted learning blocks, I think, is important for the academics as well.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we need to still value teachers as professionals, because all of us were like, oh my god, we loved the autonomy. And I think there is a marriage where you can have this schedule that does try to address all of these things the best it can, and there's no perfect schedule.
Unfortunately, there is not.
There's not. And also allow a teacher to say, yeah, I took 10 extra minutes for this.
Yeah.
Or, you know what, like, I normally have math, at this time, and science at this time, but I knew I had this experiment I need to set up, and the math time is after my prep.
Right.
So I put science there today so I could use my prep block to set up all the white powders for testing.
Right.
And, as long as that doesn't interfere with SPED or
Right.
ML or
Right.
other people, like, it's okay that a teacher uses their professional judgment and, like, makes that decision.
Or you know what? Something happened at recess, and we now need to have a class
Community
discussion
Yeah.
about it.
meeting.
Yep.
And that might take 10, 15 minutes, but that's what your classroom needs at that time. The math lesson can wait 10
Right.
minutes.
Right.
And it ultimately comes down to that's what kids are experiencing during the day.
Right.
We need to think about what the kids are experiencing and what that looks and feels like for them. And if their teacher is like, ooh, sorry that you had drama at recess, but we got to get to division,
Right.
That doesn't feel good.
No.
for
Or just a
kids.
schedule that's like go, 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 go,
Right,
with no,
right.
like, moment to breathe.
Adults can't do that.
Right.
Let's be honest here. Adults cannot do that. I need a break in my day,
Yeah.
just like everybody else does.
So, the best schedule is one that at the end of the day feels like a student could live in this comfortably,
Mhm.
right?
Yes.
All these things aside, right? If we bring it back to kids, right? That's what the ideal schedule needs to be.
And there's a way to give professional respect to teachers and admin and superintendents. Everybody's got a part to play for children.
Yeah.
And
Well
that's what
said.
it comes down to at the end of the day.
Well
All
said.
right. Well, thank you for popping by Meaningfueled today. Remember, we're here for you anytime. Our door is always open. You can visit our website at getmeaningfueled.com for ideas and inspiration to bring to your classroom.
Follow us at Get Meaningfueled on Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, and just Meaningfueled on Facebook.
We really want to hear your thoughts about this week's problem with this scheduling, so feel free to add comments to any of our posts on social media or on the full-length episode over on YouTube.
And remember, you can always send us your own pops for us to discuss with a DM or at getmeaningfueled@gmail.com.
Thanks, everyone.
Happy scheduling!